Dear friends, I am very happy to welcome you all to this session on essence of life and growth. And we would be talking about today with a young gentleman, Sadar. He's been my student at the Institute. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of even guiding his MBF master's thesis, after which he joined the multi-commodity exchange. Prior to I introduce him, I must give the disclaimer. Namaskar, and I would like to welcome you all. We are addressing and following the guidelines given by the Ministry of Home Affairs to conduct webinars or online meetings. We are trying to contain any kind of Zoom bombing, and cybersecurity personnel takes a control over it. We are going to keep your mics and videos off throughout the session. Only in the question answer session, those who put their hands up, would I open the mics for them and videos for them so that they can ask their questions to the speaker. Today, as I said, my speaker is Dr. Sadar Abdul Rasheed. He is currently based in the UAE. He is still an Indian national. To the best of my knowledge, when I met him last year in Dubai, while I was taken by the Zee Television to address on budget at the Indian Chartered Accountant chapters, both in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and I remember until that time he was still an Indian, and I hope he is. And we have this young bright boy who actually went forward and has been working with a large number of companies and had brought pride to us as well as the nation. He is working in the risk domain, and that's why I thought it was important that we bring him. We have very other good alumni, but I thought I should bring him in. We will bring in some of the other alumni. We have had the former Chief Election Commissioner, Dr. Naseem Zaidi, who has been a student of this institute. We have had Ms. Somi Tandon, who has been Secretary of Defense. She has been a student of this institute. V.K. Malhotra, who was Chairman Food Corporation of India, and also Chairman various other Secretary, Government Authority, various other bodies. So we will be bringing in some of our alumni as well in the forum. But I thought should have a young mind, because I have been bringing people with about 30 years, 40 years in experience and above. And I wanted the younger mind also to come forward. So as a structure, we've kept 2 people every month to come in as young people, and he's one of them today. As I said, he moved on from the institute to work with the multi-commodity exchange called the MCX in Mumbai. Then he worked with the Guhar Group in Jayad in Saudi Arabia. Then he worked with Kingdom of Bahrain with the Gulf Aluminium Rolling Mill. And then he worked with the UAE with the Globe Oil Group. And as you know, oil has touched in the futures market, which he has been working in a negative wave. It is a negative pricing for oil going on. And the reason for that, people wonder how can it happen, is the fact that there's large chunk of oil which is in these seas as of now, waiting to be ported, and it cannot be ported. And as a result, there's a heavy cost for bearing that oil in the seas for all the oil companies. And as a result, they are ready to take that off at whatever cost. They are ready to give money to take it off, because the holding cost of that oil in the seas is very, very high. Every day, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars is what the cost is. So we have today with us a person who has been working in a risk domain, heading the trading division, and currently is working with the Guhar Group. I hope I pronounce it rightly, Sadar, but if not, then you can tell it. Before I begin, Sadar, on live, and I pass on the mic to you, I would like you to take about 2-3 minutes and talk about your journey in the risk domain, going from India to the UAE, and the way you are moving on with the difficult time all over the world. You've seen things happen across the globe, and since we've traveled almost in the whole Arabic region, as a matter of fact, in the last 15 years, you passed out in 2005, 2003 and 5 batch as an MBF graduate. So from 2005, and in the meantime, he did his PhD as well, not from us, but from another university, which he will enlighten you about. And he is now a doctorate. So Dr. Sadar, I will be passing the mic. Please go ahead and please a brief introduction of about 2-3 minutes, and then we move forward with the essence of life, which you are talking about. To you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. Good morning, good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Aman sir, for a wonderful introduction. And I take this opportunity to thank Aman sir and IIF fraternity for this opportunity. I've been a part of this webinar since the beginning. It's really amazing because the Aman sir and IIF has put together all the people, all the amazing personalities from bureaucrats, politicians, corporates, and all these together to share their experience and life journey. It's really motivating, and it is good for the students as well as the common man to get it inspired and interact with these people. I really admire this effort, and good to see this continuing. Myself, Sadar. I born and brought up in a small town in Trivandrum, southern part of India, Gosam country, Kerala. I had a magnificent childhood with my younger
Sadar, could you be a little loud? A little louder, please.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, a little louder.
Yeah. With my younger sister. Being the first one in the family definitely make more focus on me. My school days are really tough because I'm an average student. I'm not very studious. And I still remember in olden days, my uncle come to pick me into school because my father was working abroad. So he used to rub the marks in the slate. In that time, the evaluation is in the slate. Okay, the students will be given by the teacher the giving the marks on the slate with the chalks. So in the evening, he come up in the exam day and he used to rub it because the reason is I used to score 5 out of 50 in all subjects because he ashamed to see that number 5 out of 50 being from a student of early stage. But somehow I managed to come to the +2 level and completed with the first class mark. So that was really a big explosion in the neighborhood because being an average student and he finished this. That is really an inner realization for me because I thought I can do it. Coming from that level to this level, that gave me a more confidence to go forward in my life. My father that time come back from Saudi because he was working over there in that Gulf War time in 90s, he come back. Then all focus is on my studies and futures because I am the only one in the family to look after the family in going forward. Meantime, I finished my pre-degree, and that time I was looking for to get into a career, especially from the educational journey. So I thought of to bring into a professional career as a professional course. So I attended state medical agriculture entrance examination. I got selected into a BSc agriculture from Kerala Agriculture University. So wonderful, being a professional graduate, I got selected into the government service and agriculture officer. I really thrilled in that moment being an agriculture officer. In agriculture officer is in the sense he's controlling all the agriculture activities in a panchayat level, government agriculture extension and other production, giving subsidies and all this. I really thought of it as a nice job because it's an opportunity for me to support the farming community in India and give something back to the society. But unfortunately, it's not longer very because in 6 to 7 months, I decided to quit the job because I realized this is not my cup of tea. Either you have to change the system or you should change. So I decided to change and pursue my career in education. So I decided to go for my master's. So I ended up in Indian Institute of Finance to pursue my master's in business finance. It's a wonderful institute. It gave me a lot of opportunity to interact with the economic world and financial world. Being a Indian Institute of Finance, it's pure subjects because in 36 subjects, 22 subjects are focused on finance, and we have very amazing financial reviews in every day. So that gives us more interaction to the market and the studies because we are studying something, but we are really seeing what's happening in the market. That open up a big venue of opportunities for me. Then my biggest worry was being a graduate in agriculture and now end up in finance. So how I can cooperate or incorporate these things together? Because I can't leave my agriculture background and go into some different field. So I thought of where I can mix these two together. So that time, luckily in 2002 and 3, the government of India has opened up the trading in agricultural commodities on derivative markets. Before that, it was banned in India. It was banned under the Essential Commodities Act. In 2000, early 2000, they opened up for commodity derivative trading in agricultural commodities. So I thought of this is my cup of tea. That is the area I want to be in. As I wish, I got into a summer placement in MCX, 2 months from IIF. In that time, I was had a great opportunity to interact with a lot of exotic derivative products in MCX. I was worked on freight derivatives, weather derivatives, and all. And I initiated the studies in MCX research department for the development of the index, complex. Due to that and all, I got a pre-placement offer from MCX. So immediately after finishing the MBF, I joined MCX. That is my journey starting, my professional journey starting in my own wish career, that is in derivatives. I really honored that in MCX, I've been the part of developing a lot of commodity contracts, as well as development of the first index in India, Comdex. I've been knowing the Sensex and Nifty in equity the same way we have an index in India, Comdex. And from there, I moved to globally into first move out of India to the Saudi Arabia. I worked for Middle East MNC called Sadar Group, where I was working for the commodity research and risk domain, covering all the agricultural commodities from grains and soft and all. Then moved to another domain of metals in Bahrain, Gulf Aluminium Rolling Mill. Then moved back to Dubai again in a oil domain. Currently, I'm in agricultural commodities again in Guhar Group. During this professional journey of more than a decade, I managed to finish 2 master's degrees, and I have got national UGC NET fellowship that ended up in doing a research. I finished recently my PhD in risk management. So the thing is, the important thing is the difficulties in your life do not come to destroy you, but it helps you to realize your hidden potential and power. Let difficulties know that you are too difficult. The thing is, you have to dream, because your lifespan, you've been here for not for a long, but you come for a purpose. So to realize that purpose, that is the real essence of life. If you realize it early, it is better, and you can contribute to the society. Like I always say that dream always, dream is the dream. And I just want to quote this quote from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam says, dream is something not you see in your sleep. Dream is something that does not let you sleep. The dreams transform into the thoughts. Thought transform into the actions. That is the real essence. And that essence will start from the dream. That's all regarding my journey. Back to Aman, sir.
Welcome, Sadar, again. And I'm happy to welcome my colleague from US. I see Kishore Kulkarni around here. He is a full professor. Then I see also from Sweden. I see people from other countries. I see people from UK and other places as well. So there is a lot of interest in what we are doing. And I'm happy because positivity is important to life. And I think that's what we want to spread. Begin with you, Sadar. I've been discussing, and you have been in some of these sessions in the past. What do you think about life and growth? What is life and what is growth in your opinion?
The life is a quality aspect and growth is a quantitative way. The life is the quality you are looking from the life. Like you have a lot of wants, the Maslow hierarchy theory says that the wants are unlimited. Of course, but we can't have a manageable wants and quality of life. And the growth is something you see in your quantitative way, that where you want to be and where you want to become, that is coming from your dreams and your ambitions. That's the way I see it.
So having identified them as quality and quantity and quality, how do you identify or outline what are the key essentials for life and growth?
It's a different perspective. The person to person, it will be different. But for me, it is the quality in the sense you've been here in this universe, how you are contributing to the others. That's not only everyone in the society. It's important that your kids, means your wife and your son and daughter and your sister and brothers and your family, giving respect to them and making them as an individual, that itself is a quality of life. We have seen a lot of cases in the family itself, the disputes, and the people are not considering even a humanity measures for their near ones, especially for the parents. So the quality starts from there. If you are having a quality of life, that starts from an individual, from the family.
True. See, there are times of uncertainties all throughout your life. And you have been in an industry after 2007-8 crisis, now 2014 again, there have been rumbles. Now again, for some other reasons, some of the other reasons, there is something which is volatile and things happening, and you look into the futures market all the time. How do you induce certainty in uncertainty as a market trader?
Yeah, see, the market is there. You know, the market is always going a random way. Okay. But we have to remember one thing, the market is always within a circle. The circle is a starting phase and stabilizing phase and a coming down phase, that is a recession phase. The market always should go with that cycle of starting, going in the top and coming down. Because the people are always trading it, and it is basically a mob psychology. The market is driven by the mob psychology. That is always come out with a technical analysis. Because how I am thinking about the market is it go up or down. So the market will move with the mob psychology along with the fundamentals and along with the sentiments. So altogether, it's the outcome of altogether. But it always, the people, the reaction towards the market is always be emotional. That's why we see last week, recently in WTI market, we have seen the first ever in the history, the WTI has come back to the minus 35. It's never happened. It is a new equation to the quantitative finance itself, to how to evaluate options in a negative value. Is again open up a new discussion on that side, being in this minus 35 value in this market. So the market is evolving. It's an evolution in the market. We have developed a lot way in technology, as well as the market is also changing a lot, giving us this kind of negative values in the market. We have seen in interest rate, but not in the market real value in futures and sports.
I was reading the speaking key the other day, and this the quote actually got on to me. It says, for thousands and hundreds of years, if you want to enjoy the fruits and happiness of life, take up systemic planting of trees. So, you have 60 years more to go in your life. How do you see this quote from your life perspective and to bring happiness to your life?
I fully agree with that, because I mentioned in the earlier that you've been here for a purpose, and you have to give that back to the society. Planting a tree and it has lived long there for 60 years or 100 years, and since that you have a signature on it, that is a wonderful thing you can do to the society. And it is protecting the nature. It's being planting a tree itself. It's you are giving back a lot to the society and the nature. It's amazing thing to do that.
So there's also the talk that, and I've asked some of the other speakers as well, that positivity gets inspired by spirituality. Do you think it is so?
See, it's true, because it's spirituality and the religious is something different. Because I'm spiritual. I'm not saying that I'm purely a religious person. The spirituality is something that comes with the humanity. The humanity and spirituality work always together. The outcome maybe come as an empathy. The empathy is the way of spirituality. The empathy, because I want to see, as seeing a poor person in the street and he's begging all the day and I need to give some money to him, that is coming from an empathy. That is behind that is the spirituality. You are believing in a spirit as a human being. The humanity, spirituality, and empathy, these are the same equations in life and evolution.
Yesterday in a debate, in the 4 o'clock debate, we had Professor Vohra addressing, and he beautifully talked about the young India and the fact that most people are younger than 20 years of age, and there is youth in India, and that brings in the strength of India. And he also puts himself in that category, although I did say that I am in the teens and below 18s. But, as a youth, as a young man of tomorrow, representing India and Indians' perspective, how do you as a youth measure happiness in life?
Talking in the happiness, it's a great thing because I've been in Saudi, I mean, in UAE, and we have one of the minister for happiness. I believe in one of the countries, rare countries in the world, have a minister dedicated for happiness in UAE. I'm really proud to be a part of this country. Now, the happiness is a very important thing nowadays. If you see, the people, our lifestyle has changed. We are running in a cycle, right? It's a morning, wake up and going for work and come back and all these things, and we are running behind something. We are finding something, but we are not realizing that that is not happiness. We are lacking something also. We are not spending enough time with the family. We are not spending enough time what you want to be. You are running behind something. That's something you end up in your bed in the olden days. That time you will see that I didn't earn anything in my life. That's why you have to mix this properly. This mix of personal life happiness and your professional life. That is something the lacking in the current society. But if you see the change in our Indian society now, it's changing a lot. Because if you see in olden days, the people I got also from ancestral property from my father, and a lot of people have got. But if you see the millennials now coming up, they're working in IT profession or investment banking or whatever. They are spending more money on the happiness. They are not keeping the money as an investment for their kids and all. They are spending it off. They are keeping happiness out of everything. They are not thinking about the future. That is the kind of thing it's seen in current generation, basically. So I don't know, but what I mean to say is we have to keep the proper mix of professional and personal life happiness.
So what, if I understand correctly, you're saying what the elderly generation used to think and keep as measures of happiness is different for the millennials which are coming forth?
Yeah, that is the thing. You know, the older generation and the new generation has very big diverse in their behavior, attitude, and response to the society. And if you see that, I think it's the overwhelming of the social media. The things are coming up everywhere, not like before. That's the one reason that more millennials activities are coming up into the picture. Exactly the same. The millennials are more on towards the physical well-being rather than an adult mentality or a older generation mentality.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So do you think life is all about money and power then?
No, life and it's to some extent something is good, but in all extent I don't believe 100% in money and power, because there are certain things in our life we can't buy using both of them, money and power. If you are, that's the biggest example is the current situation. We are locked down for more than 30 days in our home, and there are world power. They are saying that they are the most developed countries in the world. They're suffering. They have the money and they have the power, but they can't unable to do anything with this micro thing called COVID-19, and we all are struggling. The industry is devastating. The economies are collapsing, and all this happening, but we are unable to do. That is a good realization for the society. Money and power can't do everything. They can, but not everything.
You work in the risk domain and you work on the fact of trading, future trading. So you have that futuristic perspective. So how do you see life shaping up, in the next 6 months to a year?
Uh, it's a really surprising question, and it is a very at this moment seeing it is very difficult. But what I can say is this COVID-19 has impacted in almost all the industries, almost everyone in the country, even a small city, small kid to the older generation. So if you see in that perspective, it is affecting everyone. But if you see in economic perspective, there are industries that may be vanished from this field, especially in the focus of the hospitality industry, travel industry. The airline industry is a big hit, big ever hit in this lockdown, because they all are using the leased aircraft and they are unable to pay back their money within 2 or 3 weeks or a month's time. They go bankrupt. The recovery for that may take 3 years, and the impact on that is it's a multiplier effect. It will affect the people's employment. That will lead to a multiplier effect in the economy. So altogether, it will end up in a big recession. It may take 2 to 3 years to recover. Sorry to say.
And so, what is your mantra for success for tomorrow? You must have been discovering, thinking in the last 15 years. The world has been in a volatile mode. You have been moving from one country to the other, hopping like a frog. So, what do you think is a success mantra for you, and which may be there true for young people as well?
See, you should be hungry. You should be always hungry. The hungry for knowledge and hungry for satisfaction. That is my mantra always. Be a hungry person for knowledge and satisfaction.
So keeping that hunger alive is important perspective in yourself. So given that hunger, do you think it's important that we must invest in ourselves if we want to induce growth and happy living?
Of course, investing in yourself is a very important thing. That is the one thing we are lacking in our society. See, we all, if I ask one guy in my neighborhood in Kerala, what do you want to be? He will say first, I want to get into a government job. The answer is obvious that he wants to get into a comfort zone, because if you're getting a government job, your life is secure because you're getting everyday monthly income and you will be end up in paying a retirement and a back pension. So he wants to have a comfort life. They don't want to invest in yourself, because investing in yourself will come with an intuition in your life. That is a spark in your life. See, my way is you have to weaponize yourself in your career. Being a person, in my experience itself, I have done my 2 master's degrees and a PhD only after joining my professional career. So that bring me a more confidence in my life to go and face the endeavors and the resistance I'm facing. So my advice to the young generation is be always not going into that comfort zone. Be always hungry. Keep weaponize yourself to fight for the future.
Cool. I have 3 more questions before we open the house for questions. I would request everybody to raise their hands. I do see Professor Vohra wanting to ask questions, and I will come to it first before I go to anyone else. But I would request everybody else who wants to ask a question to kindly raise their hands. As I said, 3 more questions I have for you before I open the house. One thing is that, as a young man, you have a lot of aspirations, a lot of desires, a lot of expectations. And you have seen governments perform. You have a different, perspective of looking at what they are doing. You see, you are in the Saudi zone, so you see what they are doing. And then you see the American government, the Indian government, and various other governments taking different steps, Japanese government, and so on and so forth. What, in your opinion, could the governments do to induce growth and happy living? I'm not talking of COVID. I'm not talking of current scenario only. I'm talking in general. When you have seen that those governments in the last functioning 10, 15 years of your work life and another maybe 30 years of existence, what do you think governments can do to induce that growth component, which you have been talking about, keeping that hunger alive and bringing happy living?
It's really a tricky question. In Indian perspective, the thing is we are facing a big ever threatening scenario now for the human society itself in the world, in all over the world. But in this particular scenario, the government is doing a very nice thing they can do, whatever, because the important thing is to protect the citizens of the country. The first important priority is to protect them from these kind of problems. And the second is their what you can say is the food, shelter, and things like the basic amenities. The government is doing that in a very big way, but we need to incorporate something else also in our life, is the tolerance, because we have to do more on the tolerance side from the government sectors also. We want a unity in the society, so we always have to keep that unity in the society. See, we being an individual, anybody can defeat you, but being it together, nobody can defeat you. That is one mantra we need to keep in all the government systems. If you see in the world perspective, and different people have different agendas, and the world leaders have different agendas. If you see starting from United States, to India and then the Asian countries, and all the leaders have different perspectives and agendas. And now Mr. Trump is going to face the election in a very bad scenario, so he is moving and blaming everything to the others to make a blame on this thing. So other people have different agendas, but we are fighting. We are facing a common enemy, but we are lacking some focus somewhere. That is affecting.
Yes, but how do you keep that hunger alive? Do you think some of the steps undertaken by the Indian government recently, like the Make in India or the startup program or the entrepreneurship drive, can that help, or more should be done?
Yeah, that is, of course. If you see, we have what is the advantage considering in India with other for the youngsters is we have IITs, we have IIMs, we have IICs, and we have AIMS, and all these things are boosting the country and the youngsters together with the technology fund and science and development funds. Nowadays, what's happening is the startups and making India concept that is giving more importance to the students and the youngsters to come up and being an entrepreneur rather than an employee in their life. If you see in almost all the, before it was in IITs and all the renowned technological institute, now every engineering colleges in India has a startup unit that is promoting the students to become an entrepreneur and come out their ideas into the reality. That is a good step from in India, and India is funding a lot. India government and state governments are funding a lot for this incubations and startups in India and small and large scale. That is giving more confidence for the young students to come up with an ideas and implement it and being an entrepreneur. That's a good step. That is also a thing to enhance the hunger, what I mean to say before.
Mm-hmm. As I said, last two questions. What is your, before I go to this, so India, there have been projections by the IMF, by various agencies. There have been revisits them. The average, projection is that 1.9% of GDP growth rate is expected in the calendar year 2020 and about 7.46% in calendar year 2021. Do you think these estimates which have been given by IMF are conservative in nature or they are too optimistic in nature? What do you think?
It is too conservative in nature, I can say, because considering the current COVID scenario, the market has impacted a lot. Even the economy is in a recession, more or partial recession, we can say. Still, it's early to predict, but we are nearly in that range. But we have to keep one more thing is India, you need to look into the debt equity ratio, debt to GDP ratio. That's very important for the economy. So if you see the Western economies and European economies, they're struggling a lot with this debt to GDP ratio because that is increasing alarmingly. So India need to consider more focus on that to reduce the debt.
True. Last question for today from me. What's your advice to the youth and the elderly like me? I'm not elderly, since I believe I'm in the teens, as Professor Vohra helped me put it. But still, what is your advice to all of us? What should we focus on? What should we do? We've had people from all walks of life come and give their own advices. What's yours as a young man?
See, it's better not to keep your things like bank balance and the physical things. It's a matter is a better human being, better citizen. If you're a better human being, you will always become a better citizen. With considering your good spirituality and your humanity and your empathy to the society, that is something you can give back to the society in a long term.
Thank you. I'll now open the house for discussion, and as I said, I will request everybody to raise their hands. I will be opening up everyone's video who asks for wanting to ask a question. I will first go to Professor Vohra, who is there, and I'll open up his mic as well as video. I would request everyone else. Professor Vohra is very well known to all the audience. He's a celebrity. He's done, and he's our honored professor. But rest of them, I will request before they ask their question, if they can introduce themselves and then go with the question. Professor Vohra, please go ahead.
Can you hear me, Professor Aman?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Sadar, enjoyed listening to you. I listened very patiently to everything that you said. Thank you very much. It was very interesting to listen to your viewpoint. I have a couple of comments to make more than questions. I've met the Minister for Happiness. It's actually Minister for Happiness and Well-being. It's a lady at the moment. It's about 4 years ago. The UAE also started a World Happiness Council. That has flopped. Nobody else has joined it. but the Minister for Happiness is doing what he or she, at the moment it's a she, should do. You know, there's something that I noticed when you were talking about the younger generation. You said that material well-being is paramount for them. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know where you say this. There is an organization, you might have heard of them, called Deloitte. Have you heard of a company called Deloitte?
Yeah, of course.
Every year they carry out a millennial attitude survey. They did one in 2019. 16,500 millennials and post-millennials. Millennials, those born after 1985, post-millennials after 1995. 42 countries, they carried out a survey of millennial attitudes. Are you optimistic? At the bottom of the list, listen very carefully, sir. Sweden, Norway, Finland, France, England, Germany, Japan, etc. Somewhere in the middle of the list, 1 or 2 Arab countries. At the top of the list, India. Now, this is optimism for the younger generation, what we call the millennials and the post-millennials. Then they were also asked, what's your top priority? A great job, big salary, a wonderful house, etc. They said no, giving back to society. So it's very facile to say that these guys don't know, all they want is money. That's no longer true. There's a lot of passion rather than hunger amongst the younger people in India to see India reach its destiny, and they wish to give back. The last thing I want to comment on is, you've perhaps heard of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. He talked about, first was roti kapda of makan, which is your basic physiological needs. Then comes safety. Then he talked of belongingness, wanting a sense of belonging. That means being close to people, although now we are talking of social distancing. We are talking of exactly the opposite. Then he talked of the fourth thing was self-esteem, and finally self-actualization. And when I'd met him just before he died, he'd even talked of a sixth dimension, which is spiritual transcendence. So what I believe, sir, the essence of life teaches us, and that has been my experience. I'm 69 years young, exactly the same age as Professor Aman. So and by the way, in 1951, I was made in India. PM is talking about it. I serve him, he's talking about it now, but I was made in India 69 years ago. So what we are seeing today because of the coronavirus, in my perception, possibly I'm wrong, is that we are reassessing the essence of life. The things like gross domestic products, it's a gross valuation. Gross in terms of horrible. It's a gross way to measure progress. What we should be looking at is a comprehensive contentment calculator. Are you satisfied with what you have? And in the last 40 days, my wife and I, we're both senior citizens, we've suddenly realized we don't need to go out. Our needs are so simple. I haven't, Aman wears a suit. I don't, because my dry cleaner is closed. I can't send it there to be dry cleaned. I'm not wearing a kurta pajama because we can wash it, but we don't have someone to iron it. So I just wear t-shirts and shirts, and I feel very comfortable. I would say that 95 out of every 100 clothes in my closet are not required. And then we have taken a personal decision, Aman, if I may repeat that. One, that we will never again buy anything Chinese. They have lied through their teeth, the government of China. I don't know about the people, I will not comment. Second, for the rest of our natural lives, we will fund the education of a girl child somewhere in India. So second decision we've made. And the third, that we may contribute whatever we can for the rest of our natural lives to bring up one family. It won't break the bank. It won't bankrupt us. But I believe that these 4-5 stages that Maslow talked about and subsequent one, it's not that they come in stages. It's not a ladder. They are overlapping. I believe now Corona has taught us, the Chinese virus, that we should look for spiritual transcendence. We should go beyond roti kapda or makan, and we should look for happiness, for which you have a minister. The minister won't give you happiness, sir. It comes from within. I thank you very much for your presentation. Every time I've gone to the UAE, I've loved it, enjoyed myself very much. Our relationship is burgeoning. I was there when the Prime Minister visited so many times. UAE is now cooperating with us, if I may use the term, in many areas. So thank you very much. Enjoy yourself and best wishes for the future.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Vohra. Thank you for the question. Hello?
It was a comment more than a question.
Yes.
Okay. I really agree with you on that aspect. Yeah.
So
look within, have passion. Don't have hunger. Have passion in whatever you do.
Exactly.
Yes. I would now request, yes, I see the hand of Dr. Jagannath and Rekha Jagannath, and I'll request her to kindly ask a question or comment, whatever she likes to make. And just to introduce her, she is the former member of the Karnataka State Planning Board. Apart from various other activities which she's engaged with in terms of teaching and dispersing knowledge and taking decisions. Now I'll request Professor Jagannath and Dr. Jagannath to come up, and after that we'll go to Ms. Dipti Mundel, who is also a teacher and incidentally is my student and also
Dr. Aman Agarwal, I would also like to remind you that I am a teacher of 30 plus years of service. But then I'm very happy that Sadar has made his bucks. He has got a complete view of materialistic angle of life, but still he could very clearly distinguish between spirituality, religion, and materialistic aspect of it, which is a very happy thing. These days, even if they come towards 60s, they don't realize the differences very clearly. I'm very happy about this. This is one comment, but I also have a question. Now, oil prices are falling miserably, and then the OPEC countries are not very happy at all. And then you've been there for quite a long time, and then you are an alumnus of Indian Institute of Finance. I feel very proud that I've gone out and made your life, but then now at this miserable juncture where you have coronavirus plus also fall in oil prices, what is your take on this? Rather feeling.
It's of course a big thing regarding the oil market, and the GCC countries and upper countries are concerned because their bread and butter is coming from this oil money. The thing is, there are two things. One is the ongoing thing, that is the OPEC issue, because we are in an overproduction scenario. Upper countries are competing with each other, and that is always a crisis continuing. Currently, what happened is, it's coupled with the current scenario of this pandemic, Corona, COVID-19. It creates a big problem of demand diminishing. Because last week, what happened is, in the WTI contract in the US, it is going to expire. These are the deliverable contracts, because whatever it's in outstanding, somebody need to take the delivery. Because that particular moment, there is a unprecedented demand diminishing happen, because all over the world, it's in a lockdown scenario. There is a drastic demand down in the crude oil that nobody has taken ready to take that much delivery. That take up in the market in a different shape. But always the world is continuing, the things are changing, it's always dynamic. The market may change, because we can't say that this will continue in this level. This way or another way, it will change gradually. And upper countries and GCC countries need to look into it as an alternative income rather than the oil money.
But we don't expect a rise that was to the level before with coronavirus and recession.
No. It will be a difficult scenario. But the thing is, there will be a recovery, because every lockdowns are withdrawn. The countries may come up. That will create a sudden demand in the market. That we will see a boom to a certain level, maybe 35 and 40 levels. They're not like before in 140. That is incredible move to its upside. Nobody's expecting that.
So do you feel more spiritual at this moment, now that the materialistic
of
things?
Of course, the people are realizing that the materialistic life can't do anything in your life, everyday life. Nobody thought last year you will end up in a situation like now. All over the world is in a lockdown. Nobody can do anything, even if you have a lot of money or balance.
Yeah. So do you want to do much for the society and stop accumulation or something like that, or because you are a younger person?
Yeah, I always do that. I always do that in my in my day life as well as my savings. I always do give back to the society. I want others also to do the same.
So it's interesting to know that the younger generations have parallel interests in both spirituality and materialistic aspects, in spite of recession continuing. We expect recession for quite some time hereafter.
Yeah.
Then it's going to go down the W curve we are going to have. That's what we expect.
Yes, exactly.
So again, we are going to go down and then try to come up yet again. So wish you all the best
Thank
in
you, madam.
spite of the
Thank you.
session for maintaining your spirits. Spirit is one thing and spirituality is another thing. In spite of decline in economic aspects, you are maintaining your spirits and spirituality. Congratulations. Dr. Aman, thank you for giving me this opportunity of meeting Sadar. Thank you.
And I always feel privileged because I am a son of professors. Even my grandparents were professors from my side. So it's always a privilege to have welcome professors and teaching staff. I am happy that many of my students are also going into teaching. So that's good. In fact, we're going to have one who is going to be speaking next as the question to you. So thank you, Professor Jagannathan. And I'll go to Dipti, who is going to be there. I'll unmute Dipti. Just a second, Dipti. Dipti, I know Dipti has been a teacher in the school. She went from corporate to the academics. Last I remember when I spoke about 2 years back or so, she was heading a department and she's acting as an acting principal. I don't know if she's already become a principal, but I'll request Dipti to introduce herself. She's also a student of the institute. Please go ahead, Dipti.
Good afternoon, all. I'm the ex-IIFian, and I'm right now working as HOD Economics in Vivekananda School, Anand Vihar, Delhi. And my question to sir is that he talked about the hunger of growth. Sir, how will you relate hunger of growth in present generation? Don't you think they are right now sacrificing the hunger, the competition which they are getting, they are compromising with the business ethics? Because if I see the people, the investors, or whether they are the businessmen, they are sacrificing, they are not following the business ethics properly. Whatever norms, whatever regulations there are to be followed, they are sacrificing all that. So how would you comment on that? Since you talked about hunger, if I speak about my hunger of growth, then yes, I would also think I should get more money. I should go into different places. I should also reach to the higher positions. How will you link that to?
Yeah. See, thank you. Thank you, Mundel, for your questions. See, the thing is, it's in a perspective, actually. See, if being a good human being is the first thing, then how can you become a good human being? It is starting from your family. If your family, you have to keep your values and ethics together. So you never become an unethical person in your personal life and professional life. That's why if there are certain people in the government sector as well as the business life, they keep their ethics together. And keeping that ethics together and the values in their mind, then you have to fight for the hunger. That's the way I look at that perspective. My comment is on that perspective. Not like hunger, you have to achieve it and you can do whatever you want to do. No. That is unethical, and that is against the society. That is happening now.
Okay, how would you then how would you encourage the present generation? Because in them, they have imbibed in themselves this, that they have to reach to the higher position, whatever, how would you to imbibe in them? Because I can see few students, other youngsters would also be have also joined the this session. So I would like them also to understand the difference between these two and how together they have to move forward.
Yeah, that the society, I always believe the society, the micro portion of the society is the family. And, I'm a parent and my kids are going to the school. My son come to me every day and say that today I have a test, and I will tell him, okay, do good. But other parents are saying in a way that you want to be the first in the class. So that is the answer. So you are giving an target. The kid is trying to achieve the target in any way, at any cost. But you are not teaching him how to reach ethically into that target. Okay, if you're scoring 100 out of 100 or 80 out of 100, what is the difference? You are achieving the target, but it is an 80 out of 100 is good, but you have done with any ethical way and you can do it more than that. The way how we inculcate our kids, that is the beginning of the society. Every society is starting from the family. So being a parent, we have to learn that. It is not to fight or get a mark, being a good citizen. How you can become a good citizen rather than scoring 100 out of 100 in all subjects. That's something we need to do. The elder generation need to do. The parents need to do. Parents need to think about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepti. May I request Mohammed Halim Khan, I'm seeing he's still here. I would request maybe if he has something to share of his own, and maybe he wants to ask a question to a young gentleman here. Mr. Khan.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Let me tell you something. When I was under training, they told us that a bureaucrat has to be a faceless person. And I am sorry, my video is not on. And I hope it is okay with you, Sadar, if I talk to you, just remain audible.
No problem, sir. Carry on.
Okay, good. So let me start with a few things. I am really very happy the way you use the word hunger and the weaponization of the personality. I'm very happy with this. This clarity doesn't come very easily to many people. Number two, we had a very young 69-year young person here who talked about spiritual transcendence. So I mean, he is very young, but I am younger than him, and you are certainly much more younger than him. So let me tell you very seriously that please, for God's sake, don't get into that spiritual transcendence. You are young, and for you to remain young and to be useful to the society, it is better to keep your hunger alive so that you achieve more and more. Number one. And number two, weaponize yourself so that you may have much more degrees with you. And that is the term which you use for upgrading your qualification. So this urge of acquiring more and more knowledge and this hunger for contributing more and more to the society is the real thing. Spiritualism and transcendence and etc., all those high sounding words, I mean, my advice to you is please avoid them. They create lot of confusion. They are only good for people who have probably not have enough of physical strength to contribute. For me, the essence of life is to consume goods and services by way of your hard work. And whatever goods and services you consume, you should be able to produce more goods and services which are useful to the society. If you are doing these two things, I think you are doing a wonderful thing. And after listening to you, my conviction in these two things has really deepened, and I congratulate you. And I will certainly implore you to keep on addressing the younger generation so that they keep on acquiring, they have real hunger for knowledge. They keep on acquiring knowledge, number one. And number two, they keep on remembering that they have consumed certain goods and services from the day they came into this world. Now it is their duty to produce goods and services which are useful to the society. And the ethic of it is that don't cheat the people, have love for fellow being, have compassion for people who are in need, and to create a team. So that is my, and I'm really very happy you are doing so well. And if you still have some leftover of urge for spiritualism, you can try to convince me. I am open to your suggestions for this, because I hate this word, frankly speaking. I mean, I can't be more blunt than this. I want that everybody who has some sense of dignity, he should be able to produce goods and services which are useful to the society and make it easily available to them. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that comment, and definitely we will carry that. Thank you.
Before we end for today, I had a question before you. In fact, you know, we are all perplexed with this problem of plenty. The last question for today. And this problem of plenty is not only something which is bothering the elderly, it is even the young people who are perplexed with this problem. The digital age is bringing that even further. You know, today I had reached my market, local market. With lockdowns, I have reached to a retail segment online. But today a person can go buy things from US, from Germany, from France, from everywhere. And what do you go and what do you buy and what do you not buy? It's a big question. And then there are these restrictions which come up. We have these sentimental values, these Indian product values which have come in the past. Now the sentiment of negativity towards China also is coming forth. But the problem of plenty still remains now. given that problem of plenty, you know, how do you really see life changing for the millennials going forward?
Okay. It's really tricky to say the good answer. Basically, it is again a perspective view. Basically, if I see the things, you know, you have a lot of things in front of you, but you are in a big dilemma of choosing it. The plenty and the choosing, these are the two things in conflicting in everyday life. Because we have, if you see about the streaming service, or if you see about buying something, or if you see about go to the market, or if you want to take any choice out of this, plenty is a big dilemma in the current society. Because that will end up in a excessive spending and excessness in your life. Maybe if you ask for a person, what you have, do you subscribe for Netflix or OSN, or you have a HBO or whatever it is? The people are spending more than what they need. Why? Because they are in a big conflict of interest between the plenty and the choices. So the better thing is you need to choose what you really require, what you really need. That we need to address properly. The need and the choice is the important criteria to come out with this plenty dilemma. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadar, and God bless you and keep you rising and growing and keep you happy and satisfied and keep you all through positive, you know, irrespective of what life gives you, one all must be positive. Just before I end today, I have to announce for tomorrow and day after and what we have in hand. We are going to have no session tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. I take a break from all sessions. I have to engage myself in large number of home chores, which I need to get done with. Since I have been managing these office hours throughout the last 1 month now. So, but on Monday, we have an industrialist from India, a person and also a social worker. He has also worked with the government of India for quite some time before he ventured into being an industrialist and working for a company. He is the chairman of Galaxy Venture Capital. It's called Mr. Pradeep K. Gupta. Then on the 5th, we have an international personality. We have Åsa from Sweden. She is a leadership coach. She has been working with large number of organizations, including large number of UN institutions, World Economic Forum, and over 55 governments and countries, consulting them, working with them, education institutions like the famous Stockholm School of Economics, and various others. So we are going to hear from her on the perspective of essence of life as well on the 5th of May. Today afternoon, we have a session with Dr. Yamini Agarwal on how to do research, and anyone who is wanting to come in is most welcome. Please message me. I would send you the details and look forward. Thank you very much. Have a happy day, a happy weekend, and a happy life ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.